What's going on, everyone? So the other day, Jovan Buha said the Lakers plan to remain patient in their quest to improve their roster after failed trade talks with teams such as the Portland Trailblazers, Brooklyn Nets, Utah Jazz, Toronto Raptors, and Orlando Magic per Jovan Buha. The Lakers' inactivity has not been due to lack of trying. They struck out with Klay Thompson. They were unable to land other impact free agents like Jonas Valanciunas and DeMar DeRozan, and have failed thus far to find common ground in trade talks with Portland, Brooklyn, Utah, Toronto, and Orlando. Now, according to the league and team sources, the Lakers are expected to remain patient in their quest to improve their roster. And also, the Lakers players, again, based on reports, don't really seem to have any value, or neutral value at best, right? And so I wanted to kind of bring up that Jovan Buha just kind of quote. Again, that was from the other day, because it all kind of ties in. And you're seeing this kind of trend, particularly with the Lakers. Again, the Lakers are trying and are active on the trade market. The Lakers are trying to find moves, or at least a move, not only to clear salary and roster spots, but also can they do it through a Jeremy Grant trade, right? Like, could the Lakers just give up 2 seconds right now and go unload Cam Reddish and, Christian Wood? Sure, right? There's several teams that would probably do that right now. But why do that when you could potentially not have to give up those picks, which second-round picks are far more valuable now than they've ever been because of the new CBA? So it's like, do you really just want to give away and throw away assets that could potentially be a key piece later on down the road, or even just trade assets as you, again, later on down the road? And so you look at it and you go, okay, well, if we could do, say, a Jeremy Grant trade or Cam Johnson trade or, whatever, right? And we can clear off 3 or 4 roster spots and clear off, some salary in the process also. Well, now you kind of did and solved everything within the scope of just a natural trade. But also, it's like you gotta be willing to give up players that make sense for other teams and finding the right teams that want said players. So, like Gabe Vincent, I completely get having like negative value right now. He missed pretty much the entire season. He's on a good contract, right? If he can get back to showing, improving who he is and what he can do, right? I think, around the trade deadline, I think it's possible teams go, hey, you know what about Gabe Vincent? Maybe we go make a move for Gabe Vincent, right? Because again, there are teams that may value him if he can get back to being that legit 3-and-D type of point guard. And then, a guy like D'Angelo Russell, as you get closer to the trade deadline, D'Angelo Russell will become more valuable because now he's an expiring contract. Where right now, it's like, unless you actually want him, right? Like, a team like Orlando was interested and Brooklyn supposedly was interested, right? Like, unless you're a team that actually wants him and wants to use him, he has no real value for you other than an expiring contract. But you have to pay his full contract right now, where if you get to the trade deadline, well, now you only have to pay half of it and the money falls off the books. And there might be more teams that are interested and willing to kind of deal at that point, because you're going to have teams that, thought they were going to be good and were bad. You're going to have teams that thought they were going to be bad and end up good, that maybe don't want to be good, that are like, hey, we need to, hey, I know you're supposed to come back from injury this week. Tell you what, take another week off type thing, right? Like, all of that stuff is probably going to happen, especially when you get closer to the trade deadline. But you look at a guy like Rui right now, he's been fantastic for Japan and team in the Paris Olympics, right? So can he continue to do that? Maybe he raises his stock a little bit, right? I mean, obviously guys like Austin Reeves are the ones that everyone wants, because it's the Lakers' best tradable asset. But also another thing you got to keep in mind is, as we get closer to the actual training camp and season, some of those prices, I'm not saying all of them, some of those prices are going to drop, right? Because right now you have, and I've said this repeatedly, so I'm sure most of you probably know what I'm about to say. There's a lot of time between now and October, right? But it's true. I keep saying it because it's a fact. Like, it's not like and again, I'm not saying that they absolutely are, that's it, they're going to do something, but you have time. Like even the Russell Westbrook trade happened like 2 weeks before training camp or whatever, right? Like a lot of trades happen right before training camp because teams want to get their rosters intact and ready to go by training camp. So a team like Portland that they want to unload Jeremy Grant. They're not just going to give Jeremy Grant away, but they want to unload him, right? Well, they may be more incentivized, right? Great example is like the Utah Jazz, right? When we made the trade, yes, I know we made that at the trade deadline, but originally it was, we want both first, unprotected, we want pick swaps, we basically want everything, your firstborn child, all of it, everything you've had, right? Like, and you got to the trade deadline, and then all of a sudden it went from everything including stuff you don't have to, all right, fine, we'll do it for just the 2 firsts. The Lakers going, nah, it's fine, we'll just write it and say, okay, tell you what, 1 protected first and then 1 non-protected. And the Lakers said no. Also, they didn't want to give up Jared Vanderbilt, right? That was the big caveat. It was like Rudy Gay, Mike Conley, and Malik Beasley. You could have those guys. Lakers are like, nah, we'll be patient. And lo and behold, fast forward, and then it was like 1 protected first, and you also got Jared Vanderbilt, and instead of Mike Conley, you ended up with D'Angelo Russell, right? So again, like, you go down the chain of things, like, things will get easier. But it's just, it also, you look around and, like, trades haven't happened, right? And we'll dive into that more here in a moment, but just to, like, highlight, like, Jake Weinbach said the Lakers list of potential trade targets. And it's Darius Garland, Bruce Brown, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Jeremy Grant, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Wendell Carter Jr. Said, I don't foresee anything to be imminent, but watch for these names to become frequently linked to the Lakers. And the reason I wanted to mention this is because, again, it's the same names we've heard since, like, the past trade deadline, or a lot of the guys, right? And yes, you need to do, in my opinion, you need to do something to really kind of push your chips in for LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You're watching them in the Olympics. There's no way you're like, oh, they don't have it anymore. They can't win a championship. They've been arguably the 2 best players on the Olympic team, right? Like, but, you know, like, again, you look around the league, outside of the DeJounte Murray trade, there hasn't been any trades, right? I mean, there has been in the sense of, like, you know, DeMar going to Sacramento and stuff like that, but those were sign-in trade deals. Those were free agents that were leaving regardless, but there's not a lot of teams with money that they want to go to, so they just worked out a sign-in trade. I'm talking about just a straight trade, which the Lakers were always going to have to do. Even if the Lakers landed DeMar DeRozan, even if the Lakers landed Klay Thompson or whomever, right? Like, it was always DeMar and. It was always Klay and. Right? Like, Lakers, it was always about the trade. And that's still the case. It's still about the trade. They still have to find that proper trade or two. And I just think that the Lakers ultimately will be fine. Now, again, I would prefer a trade sooner rather than later. But in the same breath, it's like, even if you have to wait till the trade deadline, I think the Lakers are going to be much better. I think you're going to have another year of chemistry. Hopefully, guys are healthier. Yeah, you add in Dalton Connect, who I think actually may be better than Taurean Prince. I think he's more versatile. And then, yes, Spencer Dinwiddie, but he wasn't great under Darvin Ham, so, you know, kind of wasn't really there, right? Like, so it's like, and, you know, if your guys can stay healthy, better coach, better system on both sides of the basketball, I think the Lakers will be fine. Like, they're not in a position of desperation, in my opinion. I think that they definitely need a move. I think something needs to happen. Something needs to be done. But I don't think it's like, again, at the end of the day, would anyone be genuinely shocked if the Lakers won the championship next year? I don't think so. Right? I don't look at this Lakers team and go, oh man, they're clearly a top contender. I don't look at this roster and go, man, they're clearly one of the best teams in the league, you know, top 5 team in the league or something like that. No, but I do think that this is a team that, look, even Laker haters last offseason when we got all these guys were like, wait a minute, the Lakers might be tough. And no one got that much better There's no team in the West. Like, the West is stacked. The West is good. But there's no team in the West that it's like, man, Lakers have zero shot. Like, even Denver, who's had our number, like, they got worse. Right? Like, and things change again. If we had better coaching, I also think, if the players stepped up, we would have won. But I also think that there's an argument if we had better coaching against Denver, we would have won too. But, time will tell. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that they need to make a trade? Do you think, you be patient, take time, don't be too haste. I feel whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate you. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.